Yeah, he approves.
No, because it's the one where they got like 30 different goals all over the field and you're trying to get points.
Yeah, we in there now.
No, we're good.
Let's go. And we're back. We're back.
Yes.
Man, we're back and we're live in action, man. Welcome to another episode of For the Culture Podcast, a soccer podcast for us, by us. Season 2. We're here. We got your wonderful and gracious hosts here. We got Ringo here, Coach Tony. You got Grego. Man, we're back for season 2, man. Gentlemen, what's going on with you?
Man, cheers. We made it.
Hey, man, we made it,
Cheers.
man.
Cheers.
Let's go.
They said we wouldn't survive.
They said we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't
still
do
standing,
it.
still
They said
strong.
all we was gonna have was Candy Girl. All they said we was gonna have was a Candy Girl. We hit him with a Mr. Telephone, man. We came back with Can You Stand the Rain, man. Let's go.
You know what's crazy? Because like today, exactly a year ago, it was me, Vera, and Aaron Dolores from Black Arrow. We were downtown at the Hilton. MLS All-Star Game was here last year, and conversation that we had is pretty much like the spark that created this. And so, like, to see where we are now a year later is absolutely amazing. I texted Vera earlier today, and I was like, remember where we were a year ago? And it's like, it's all appreciation, and thank y'all, thank Rashad, thank Vera, thank y'all. We almost a year in, we still going.
You gotta have a following, a culture to make a culture, you know what I'm saying? So we appreciate the fans still listening with us.
We appreciate it.
Stay down since day one.
Day one, y'all have listened to some terrible audio for months, and y'all still fuck with us. Man. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. So how's your summer vacation been going?
Man, summer vacation for me has been really bad. It's been real. I've been going through a lot.
Same.
Going through a lot, but it's cool. When you're down, you get back up. So it's all good.
Yeah, man. It's I know it's been hot. You still cheat. I don't care what.
What you talking about, man? What you talking about?
Soccer 101. You
What
still
you talking about, man? I ain't cheat.
You're your damn buzzer.
Come on, man, quick, man.
Be quick with it.
Were you the one the quick one?
Exactly. I'm on up. Yep. You didn't see that crossover. So right there, man.
I wonder if this generation kids even play that game.
They know. They know.
Okay.
They know slap.
Okay. But yeah, what we got today, of course. This is like our LA week. We went to LA last week. LA Galaxy come here this week. I think we got a preview of MLS Cup in between one of these two games. So we got that. We got, of course, it's summertime, so over in Europe we got summer transfers that's been going on.
We got the ICC.
Yeah.
That's going on.
And then, of course, our new thing, which we started last week, our Q&A section. We got questions that came from y'all. We'll answer your questions and give our take on things. But there was one thing that I saw just last over the weekend. We shit on Chelsea quite a bit, and
Deservedly so.
And they have one of their own as the manager now, Frank Lampard, and he was like, y'all gotta quit all this racist shit, man. Are we about to see Chelsea turn a new leaf and be like, let's do right?
He didn't say racist. He said offensive.
Yeah. There's a difference.
So there's a difference.
Yeah, he told the line. He's like, I'm gonna play it safe on this. I'm gonna act like I'm quote unquote woke, but in a very PC woke way, if you can be like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
keep it at 70.
Yeah. But it's good that he's still saying something, rather than continue brushing it under the rug like former managers at that club. So we'll see. We'll see how the racism goes this season in the Premier League.
We're gonna keep
we should
score on that.
You know how in warehouses, how many days since the last race? We're gonna start having that. How many days is racism
Let's make it so boring. It's been how many days since the last race?
We got cameras now. We're gonna have props now. We got updates since the last.
Like
race.
Men in Blazes,
Yeah.
all this stuff going on, all those props. We do that.
That's what we're gonna do. But good job for Frank Lampard getting the manager job. Good for him. I mean, he was in MLS maybe 2 years ago, so got all his licenses in 2 years and got a top flight job. So didn't he have to prove himself in the lower leagues?
I mean, he did Oscar the year at Derby,
He started on that.
and
He started on that.
he did all right. So, and
I'm sure there's plenty of other brothers that
well, your boy might be joining those ranks pretty soon. We lost a great one. Over the past week.
I love this game.
Now, when he's a coach and you start kissing turkeys and chickens, you're like, you good?
But come on, like we all know what's coming on. Like we've said it, I think, almost a year ago. Like this man's gonna make his own reality show.
Yeah,
He's going for his own reality show.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I was like, I think
He gonna make making them banned before footballers.
he's gonna be tailor made for I think to be a pundit and be like, okay, I'm be like the next Henri. Like,
No, I think because I like that. I think the fact that he loves that he's uncuffed by anything, and I think he's gonna continue to be his ambassador role for Man U. And then he'll just continue doing content on social media. He'll go with his brand, and then he's going to parlay this into some whacked out game show where you stumbling over obstacles and stuff like that.
Would be pretty awesome.
We're gonna have those Japanese game shows.
That'd be pretty awesome. I ain't gonna lie to
You
you.
have the French whiteout. We're talking about Patrice Evra, by the way.
Patrice Letier Evra, 25 siblings.
What?
Yeah, 25. He's the son of a Senegalese diplomat.
Okay.
And he's got 25 siblings. Look it up.
Jesus.
I mean, did he make babies to get votes?
Is he a Las Vegas?
I might be.
Look it up. Patrice Letier got 25 siblings. Look it up.
That's wild, man. But yeah, man.
That's when we need our intern.
Yeah, he dropped that in there.
Yeah, we need an intern. So right now we're on a tripod. We're hiring for an intern. We might pay in beer and possibly pizza, but we'll look it out.
We can do great letters of rep.
Yeah. My pen game is crazy. My pen game is crazy. So holla at us if you want to intern with For the Culture Podcast.
We need pictures. Like I got time now. I can take pictures. Like we've been talking about putting out jerseys for a while. Like I can actually take pictures of them now. Like we actually do some fun shit now. So
What do you think about our homeboys Footy Miles jerseys?
I like them. They linked up with Icarus up in Philly for those, and I'm pretty familiar with those guys, and they do good work. The goalkeeper one is one I like a lot.
The white one,
yeah,
the floral.
Yeah. I think that was pretty dope. They're putting out dope shit, man. Speaking of dope shit, I know I was talking about being bougie last week. I had even more of a bougie moment at the last home game. I tried to link up with Jeezy because he put out he had a special Atlanta scarf that came out week before last, and I'm thinking I got a scarf, and everyone who got a scarf could go to have pictures with Jeezy. And so I leave tailgate early. I have to go ahead and go inside the stadium and everything. We get a group picture. Like, I don't even know if the picture's even been posted yet. I have no idea. And it's kind of like a scrum at first because everyone's trying to get like a selfie with Jeezy. And I was like, I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient. And then of course,
grown ass man. I'm not gonna be chasing another man.
Right. And then one of the guys had a baby, so of course that weekend it was all super butt crack hot, and you trying to rush everybody out, and the security guy saw me because I got a chance to get a dap with Jeezy, but I was going to take a picture. He was like, hold up. I was like I know I'm black and everything, but I trust my fan. It's okay. We good. And he's rushing Jeezy inside. Skate, one of the great people with the United Front Office, she sees me trying to get a picture. She's like, Just hang tight. I got you. Security guy comes back and says, I see you. I got you. I was like, all right, cool. It's me and Rashad. And we wait a few minutes. He comes back. He says, because we're over here by the Golden Spikes, so the team's coming out and everything. He comes back over. Says, hey, still got you. It's like, all right, cool. Like, you give me your word, bro. Right. And then after everyone left, they leave. I'm like,
It happens, man. Let me ask y'all something about Jeezy.
Oh, let's please talk about this, please.
So if we, I was talking about the fans. So if you would have the Atlanta like hip hop Mount Rushmore, right? 4 heads on Mount Rushmore, I think.
2 are already automatically taken.
There's 4 heads.
2 are claimed automatically.
Yeah.
So right. So 2 are claimed. So who are the other 2 slots go to?
So of course the 2 that we're talking about is definitely Outkast.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you don't have those 2 on there, then
What are you doing?
get the fuck out of here.
So 2 are already taken. So like, who gets the other 2 spots of the
I
classic?
mean, I have my opinion, but it's not going to be popular opinion.
Well, go for it.
I go Raheem the Dream and Kilo Ali.
I was gonna say Kilo.
Because if it wasn't for them, like, I mean, that's the whole era of like the Yeek, the Booty Shake. I mean, that's what brought the attention to Atlanta. Now, granted, Outkast put it on the national front, but when you talk about that true Atlanta sound back in the day, while people were moving down here for Freaknik and everything like that. Exactly. Raheem the Dream and Kilo, and they did. And you talk about rap beef.
Yeah,
that was original rap beef in the South.
Oh, wow.
And so, for me, I would have.
And I'm gonna at least say Kilo,
Mhm.
and then the last one would be T.I.
Now T.I., I mean, yeah. I would.
What you got?
What I got?
What you got, sir?
Sorry, what I got. Look at what I got.
What you got?
Young Thug. First of all, y'all ain't gonna disrespect Thugger. All right, y'all ain't gonna disrespect Thugger. But no, seriously, that's funny. That's amazing that we're all on this podcast because Kilo was on mine, and then my other one I was gonna say Young Thug because Young Thug's one of the greatest rappers. Sorry, yes, but I don't know. But
So I gotta say this other thing though. The crazy thing about this was that home game, and I was at home watching the game, and to hear Jeezy on the telecast talking about soccer in Atlanta. Like, if you told me that 10 years ago that was going to happen, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
No, there's no way.
And all the footage, he looked genuinely excited to be there.
Well, he's a hometown representative. That's anything Atlanta. It could have been the Atlanta Ultimate Frisbee team. He would have been hyped about it.
Well, Big Boy came in and see that excited. Let's be real.
That's him though.
No, but I'm saying Jeezy. That's what I'm saying. Jeezy would be like that. Now,
Yeah.
Big Boy is a hometown team, of course, as well. But I don't know. Jeezy is like anything.
I think
T.I. showed up 45 minutes late. Like,
I think
that was what I appreciated about Jeezy. He seemed like he genuinely wanted to be there, and he was excited to do all the festivities they asked him to do.
Absolutely.
Like,
So,
And he got an album drop. You know.
I was like, he's promoting album. It was like,
Let's be real. Business about it.
It's an album coming out, but he still portrayed like he was excited to be there.
Him, Waka, of course,
Waka's a big fan.
of course, our homie Archie.
Where Waka be?
I guess.
I think he
Is he in album mode?
Oh.
I like
he
see
dropped.
him.
Then he dropped.
I think he's been in album mode. I haven't seen him at the game.
It might be.
I don't know.
Of course, we've seen the brother Archie. You know, he I know he's working on an album right now, and
B.O.B. is a fan too.
yeah. You know, so I say everybody knows in grind mode. It's
Oh, you
summertime.
got a single in the off season, July 19th. That dropped.
Okay, maybe we was in the studio.
Okay.
You've been away. Well, let's talk about it, man. People here, they're not here to talk about our summer or talk about Jeezy. They want to hear about the footy. So let's start off with the home team. There was a fucking thriller in LA. 4-3. Should have been 3-3, but you know.
Should have been. I don't know what happened to us. Like we just like
Shit.
it's like the whole legs just open wide open and like just.
Can I ask you a question? What you think about the sub about Pity?
Something being on Pity.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it suits him. It seems like he doesn't. Every time that Frank DeBoer has subbed him onto the match, he's performed better to me. But when he starts, it's like the pressure of the game gets to PT. At PT, he folds. So it's like, yeah, he has one or two good moments throughout the season, but overall, it's like he's folded under the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to say that there's pressure in MLS compared to in Argentina.
I think that, considering the price tag that it took to get him over here, this being his first time playing outside of Argentina at all, I think that, just that general pressure that might be factoring into it.
I don't think it might. I think it is.
And then, of course, just the general adjusting to American culture.
Yeah.
And because, we said the same thing about, Barco last year. And, you can even say, Miggy, Amaran, when during the first season, everyone adjusts in different ways. Some people are used to it and just, get right to it. But some people, they adjust in different ways. They have to settle in before they can really show off what they can do. And I think that for him, he might be just like how Barco was last year. Like last year it was kind of up and down, and then this year it was like, oh, you that dude this year. And I think that my concern there is that he'll just he'll cut bait before it really takes hold. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna go back to River and do my thing there. And I think he might be selling himself short as far as just testing himself away from home. Because we run the same things with Americans, when we go to Europe, and it's okay, it's this might be tough for me. Let me go back home to MLS and where it's comfortable.
Right.
It
makes sense. It makes sense. So we'll see. I mean, that match was crazy. It was exciting.
What about the atmosphere? I mean, on TV.
Yeah. It looks.
Man, listen. First of all, shout out to all our LA homies and everything. We got the Tigers scarf here. Shout out to them. And but I think that it's so crazy to see I said it on Twitter that night. Between us, LAFC, and what I think Inter Miami is going to be able to do, it's going to change the supporter game. Hopefully for the better, and hopefully it brings more people into that.
Just comparing us to LAFC, I just don't see the comparison. Simply for the fact they seem more unified.
They buy into it, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Atlanta United, matches, they look fun and stuff like that. But when you look at that wall for the LAFC fans, they're in it, and it's like a fortress in there. It sounded loud, and they're outside.
Yeah. How much does the stadium hold?
I think it's 40. No. Actually, it's small. It's just over 20. Because right there beside the LA Coliseum. So I think they sacrifice size for location.
Right. 22,000.
22,000.
So I think that you obviously you can easily get to it and everything from the city and everything, but at the same time, just imagine if they had 30,000. Something like that. That place would be
you think their club's gonna price them out?
I mean, it's LA already, so it's already rich to begin with. So
I don't know. It looks like a working class club to me.
I think that given.
I mean, we pay. Our price is going up, and the taste of hot dogs have gotten worse. So I'm gonna throw it out.
Ain't nobody tell you to get hot dogs. Get you those Tingos nachos, and you be good to go.
Jim and Nick's. Get your pulled pork sandwich. Call it a day.
I'm just saying. Our price is going up twice, twice in the 3 years.
It's crazy.
And they said prices weren't going to go up. First season, they said
that first season.
First season. If you're a founding member, you're gonna pay the same price.
Yep, man. Hence why I'm not anymore.
They're pricing us out, man. I've been saying this for about a year and a half. It just seems like they're trying to price certain people out just so they can sell more expensive tickets because those people that live in Ackworth and Rome and shit like that got the bread to drive down to Atlanta and stuff
So
like that.
let's go more about that. I think this is what I was kind of going to get at was with the atmosphere is that if you got 22 down, that's a more concentrated effort.
Right.
Whereas with us, if you're talking about 40, 50 down,
Yeah.
you get a lot more pseudo fans or brand new fans. And so you're getting more fans that are seated. Then you got a bigger stadium. I mean, like it's
the echo.
yeah, it doesn't have that same type of feel.
Hey, like big ups to what LA's doing.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like
I
I
respect it. Honestly, what LAFC
game
is,
recognized game.
like what they're doing now is making Galaxy like say, oh shit, we the originators, man.
Yeah.
It was like they're like fuck these Chivas rejects.
Because of course we were on break when they had their derby, like that whole atmosphere
Dobby.
was fucking live, man. Like,
But it's
It's Latin show.
It's exciting. It proves that in MLS, if you have two clubs in one city, it gives you a show.
so let's get us.
Let's get us to the city though.
Let's get
It
us.
does.
Let's get us a team.
It does.
And-
Like
and-
New York, I think New York needs a New York 3. Like I think like
Cosmos.
yeah, like New York needs a New York 3. Honestly, I think Atlanta needs another team.
You think Chicago?
No.
Actually,
Until, like I said, they need to prove, like, these other big markets need to prove that they belong in the big leagues.
So what are your markers for proving it? I'm not disagreeing
No.
with you. I'm just saying
that have proved it. So, I already said LA, New York, Atlanta.
DC.
no.
I don't think, because I think DC has finally done the rebuild. That, they are, all right, now it's the rebuild. What can you do with MLS
I think
3.0?
for DC, like they'd be like something like you put like one in Baltimore or something like that.
Well, the thing about it is, at the end of the day, it's a money game. So it's going to be a top 10 market.
Mhm.
And so, like,
Well, I've said for a while, like all the top 10 markets should have one.
I think so, too.
that would be ideal.
If you-
well, that's why I said Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago would be nice, but I just don't think an ownership group would go there because what the Fire has shown like there's no fans there.
well, of
Well,
course,
that was because of fire ownership.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But like, if you're like, hey, I want to put a club in Chicago, but you're like,
I bet Black Fires right now
you-
is more than
you go to a Fire match and you're like,
well, they're pretty close. Well, they've pretty much all but confirmed they're going to Soldier Field next year, and I think that there's two things, at least as far as Chicago goes. Like, one, you have to have space where you can actually build. And then two, of course, it goes back to ownership. Like, circling back like here to Atlanta, like you've had teams who have, like we were just talking about before we started recording, like Bankhead about to start building like $400,000.
Let's see what Bankhead.
yeah, we need a working class club.
Please, man, I would.
Imagine on our side.
I'll be the capo of Bankhead.
On our side of town, like to be able to have a working class club for Atlanta would be.
Dude, I would be the
I'm telling
supporter
you,
capo.
South
I-
Atlanta FC.
Man, South
because-
Cab.
Listen, hey, so like we're an Atlanta podcast. Those of you that are just tuning in with us, man, we're an Atlanta podcast. We talk about Atlanta a lot. Atlanta, just like every other city, is going through a lot of gentrification. Like there is so many people that's been displaced from where they grew up at and things like that. And they're throwing really expensive, unaffordable housing all over the city. It's just economics the way it is. So for Atlanta to be able to have a working, quote unquote, working class team to support people that are just like getting
Clayton County Cavalry.
yeah, something like that.
There you
You
go.
know, like a
Waco Cavalry.
like I look at Boca Junior River Plate.
Mhm.
I look at that in Buenos Aires. It was like it's you have two different ends of the economic spectrum in one city supporting this sport.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta is that. Like we all know what Atlanta used to be, and we see what Atlanta is
Raheem the Dream and Kilo Ali.
Yes, and then from Raheem the Dream to Kilo Ali to microbreweries on every fucking block. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, listen, if a brewery opens up around your neighborhood, your house probably it's over.
That formula is already set.
So a microbrewery comes in, then a Starbucks,
And then you got scooters all over the place.
then bird scooters arrive. The next thing you know, a dry bar opens. That's the stages of gentrification.
Well, but then you got like the cool hipster coffee shops.
Well, right. Well, the hipster comes in between the Starbucks and the
No,
brewery.
it's not Starbucks.
No. So the Starbucks. So
Instagram.
so they come in first, and the Starbucks is like, "Oh, people like coffee there." And then we're in. That's how it happens.
We're in there.
That's how it happens. But so that's what I'm saying. So like major markets have proven they have loyal fans. They have a lot of fans. It's like, how do you cannibalize that fandom and split up where it's actually something like we have on average about 50, 45, 45,000 fans.
Right.
So imagine splitting it up 25-20. Right?
Or just like
Cross-town
How many other
rivals.
cities would be dying for that?
Yeah.
Dying for that.
Yeah.
Dying for that.
DC
Or
is dying for
shit.
They're not. That's why the club outside the city.
Or even if you put, even if you kept the bins as is, and you still had the 45,000, but you were still able to build a base big enough to where you could have a 20,000 seat stadium, like
Next door. So
right. And I think that only, of course, it helps build the sport. It helps build, like, assuming it's both two MLS teams. It helps obviously build MLS, and it's more money for the whole. And I think that. Like we talked about during the youth soccer episode, how I got to, there's a lot of cities like where one team can't possibly, cover the whole footprint for that city or that state. Cause
right.
Like you need more teams like that.
Yeah. Especially when you have expansive cities like Los Angeles, Atlanta, you know what I mean? Like Houston and sort. Like you have expansive, that's why I love that now there's 3 clubs in Texas. I actually think Texas could use like 2 more. Two more.
Where the fans at? Where the fans at?
San Antonio.
Where the fans at? Like you have.
They support Dallas. They support Dallas.
When it gets to summertime, you don't see those fans. You don't see those fans.
Because they travel. I mean, let's be fucking money. But like, honestly, I think Austin's gonna surprise everybody. I like all the shit that we're giving Austin. We're giving what's his name, Precourt, for wanting to put a team. He wants to go to Austin for a reason.
That's
you know what I mean?
Town boy coaching them, just so you know.
Oh yeah. Josh Wolf got hired as their first head coach.
That's true.
Why they're doing it like a whole year and a half before they even start playing? Hey, I don't know.
Wait. Look, Bob Bradley was named for LAFC
a year
before.
Yeah, I could do a year, but like this. Like,
a year and a half is like,
Oh no, can't do that.
Well, like what exactly are you needing to scout 2 years in advance? Like, really?
But like I said, I like what Austin's doing. I honestly think Austin's gonna surprise
their logo
everybody.
still sucks.
Their logo does suck.
I kind of like it.
Nah, son.
It sucks. It's bad.
Stupid.
It's bad. But it's cool though. Because that's
their
what
logo.
that's what it is. And anyone who's been to Austin, it's a hipster town.
Well, yeah, it's based off of like I forget the name of the tree.
The roots and then
Oh,
and
there's
branching out.
There's a famous tree in Austin. I can't remember the name of it, but that's what it's based off of.
Yeah.
But
That's what
It's called appropriation. They appropriated Columbus.
You know, there's some slaves there. Like, yeah, we used to be hung from them trees, bro. We used to be strung up on them
They
trees.
appropriated Columbus soccer culture. Crew, I stand with you.
Exactly.
But MLS, I mean, Miami comes 2020.
yeah, they just signed their first 2 players.
Yeah.
I think they're both in Argentina right now. Yeah. I was hoping I didn't get a chance to look up like what they've been doing back in South America, but I think for that market, obviously having South American players is going to be huge. Much like how this worked out pretty well for us.
Think so?
Yeah,
I was hoping they would tap more into the Caribbean field.
I think they will. I think they will. But
The Haitian crew.
Hit the Haitians, the Jamaicans.
I've said for a while,
Trinidadians.
if there's one city that's made for having more than one team, it is Miami.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but it's just taking forever to get one
Yeah,
off the ground.
There's no land.
There's
Go to Hollywood. You call
Listen,
it
Miami is
the
man.
pork and beans,
Let me
man.
tell
It's
you,
all good.
Go to Hollywood.
Listen,
Good.
all you architectural nerds, y'all know Miami was man-made. It was created. It was in a
That's
swamp.
Orlando. That's Orlando.
No, Miami was a swamp. And they said, we want to have this nice, beautiful beachfront right on the Gulf and all that. So they built it. So there's no land because
Well, what's going to happen when the climate change like floods everything?
have you seen Water
That
World?
doesn't exist. What are you
Right.
talking about?
Yeah.
We didn't cure climate change. We cured racism.
Oh, and that too. And he's the best thing that has ever happened to black people. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. It's big facts. Big facts.
I miss y'all, man.
We come back pretty real, man. Pretty
We go
real.
deep real quick.
Pretty real.
But how have y'all been keeping up with the summer transfers over in Europe?
Well, let's actually talk about like our boy if he's gonna leave or not.
Yo, free my boy
Freedom. I mean, I always say if someone doesn't want to play for a team, and we're talking about Pogba.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about Neymar. Fuck Paul Good.
My whole thing, I always say this, like, no matter the sport, no matter the team, if someone doesn't want to be there, then
Let him
bye.
go.
And now I remember the Ronaldo years. They were fun. They were lovely. They were majestic. No, wait. Now let's paint that picture. Let's go back to Moscow. Like, those were wonderful times. Like, that team, that squad,
Back
it was
when-
fun.
Back when Moscow didn't mess with us like
Like,
that.
seriously. And Putin probably had something to do with it. I don't care. Like,
Mhm.
those were great times. Seeing Crawl step overs left and right, seeing him take shots that fly over like crazy. I mean, those were good times.
Yeah.
And then he was like, we all knew before he even came to United that he was going to leave. He was going to go to Real Madrid before he even came to United. He was like, that's my ultimate goal. And when he started talking about, like, I'm trying to leave, I was like,
It's my dream. It's my
deuces.
dream.
Deuces. I'm like, for real.
It's always my
And
dream.
that's why, and that's even more reason why I love Patrice even more. Because Patrice like, yo, this is the squad that I want to be with.
Yeah.
End of the day, I want to be with Man United. And so same thing on Pogba. Pogba basically came to he didn't start there, but he came up through the ranks.
Right.
And so, you kind of feel like there's this kind of familial.
Right. You would think that he would want to stay there, but I guess,
At the end of the day, he's a black Frenchman in Manchester, England.
It's not. It ain't for
It
everybody.
ain't sexy.
Yeah.
It's not sexy. And so, deuces. I say cash out while
I
we
mean,
can.
we talk about other sexy moves. Nicolas Pepe finally he signed with Arsenal.
Yeah.
That's going to be a nice look for them. I mean, they're finally signing players that actually want to produce. So
Maybe defense. I gave the Arsenal Fan TV a shout out last week. Like, I was watching the friendlies during the ICC the past week. They need defense more.
They do.
they do, but
They need a defense for like 5 years now. I'm like, bruh, like, you keep buying forwards and midfielders. I'm like, handle your back line, B.
but that's what Arsenal does, man. Always
I
pushing forward.
They need a keeper too, like, because of course Czech retired. Like, there's a good one in Madrid that needs some good work. So like, go ahead and holler at Navas and call it that.
Speaking of which, did y'all see that Madrid?
Oh, the Derby in New York, or excuse me, New Jersey.
Did you see that debacle?
Man,
I mean, I always say,
why would Pablo want to go to that?
yeah. But it makes me happy, especially because it's like you can't buy trophies.
No.
It's like
You can.
You could.
Well, no, you can.
You
But
It takes more than money.
correct. You have to have some cohesion, and I really enjoy
you
seeing.
gotta be smart about your purchase.
Yeah, Fulham.
They spend money on extra statue. So
Yeah, man. I mean,
don't know about that.
Fulham spent like almost $300 million last season and still got relegated.
Yeah, and that's
Money doesn't solve everything.
and that's
Biggie said it.
it's one of those things that I'll always go back to.
Hip hop history.
I know, right? Yeah, good job, man.
You talking about Young Thug.
Hey, anybody who know Thugger know what I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
But no, I think that there's a lot of teams that just think money's going to solve everything, but you still have to have the organization there to build something that's confident enough to actually win trophies. Because I think that's why Man City's always been able to win England, but I'm like, you still lack the fortitude to really stick it through in Europe. Because like we talked about it like during last season with Liverpool and Man City, like, I'm pretty sure if you ask their supporters, like, deep down, which trophy would you rather have? Like, I want what they got.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to have that league trophy. I want to have a Champions League trophy. Like, I think that's what they would die for. And like you still have, like, look how long it took Chelsea to finally win a Champions League trophy. Like, when they were like spending like all up through the last decade, and then they finally.
You don't realize Chelsea sucked for a long time before that shit.
It is. But that's what you have to go through.
People forget Man
Man City was garbage.
Man City got relegated the decade before.
Yeah.
Yes,
Garbage
yes.
for a while.
But when City got a plan and identity, it started working.
When Dubai money comes in,
No.
Russian money,
I don't think
old
it
money.
was with Manchester City. I don't think it was the money.
no,
Honestly,
in
the past 10 years, they've won 4 titles.
But
It's not the money. I understand you guys being like historic Manchester United fans. You guys are like, no, they bought their way in. No, they bought a system and they taught the
So how
system.
do you buy a system? You buy it with money.
No, what you
just
do
said it.
is talent acquisition to get
So you
quality
need money to get that talent.
You're a boss, right? You need money to
They
get
were
talent.
doing it when they had Stephen Ireland.
Listen,
and
correct.
Marcus Beasley.
Correct. You have to be able to get the talent you need to
I'm not
instill the identity that you want.
I hear you.
Do you?
I do hear you. That is a factor.
Uh-huh.
That's not the total factor. No, because you have that at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, you could be a mastermind.
Or
You can be a mastermind
mm-hmm.
and say, I know all this stuff about everybody. I scouted everybody. I know my system. I know my philosophy. I have these contacts. I have these good reports. But at the end of the day, you are going to need some money to move it, especially in this modern day of soccer. This modern day where you have
Leicester City won a championship.
And that's the master Cinderella story and people, and that's why I said that season, nobody knows like how significant that season was. That shit will never happen again.
I do.
They probably take another 20 years for that to happen.
It doesn't.
That's the exception. That's not the rule.
That's
the exception, not the rule.
You get a system.
So you're saying everyone going to happen again and again.
If you get your players buying into the problem is that the big clubs throw money at players, entice them away before a system gets instilled.
There's a form.
Like look at how many Wolves players have been poached.
Right. That's going to happen. Every club is going to know that they're a mid-market or mid-level club, and that they're going to be a development club.
Imagine being
like Dallas,
like Leicester City did. They convinced their players to stay longer than what they should have stayed. Same thing with last year with Ajax. They said stay one more year. Let's give it one more year.
They're used to
They've been like that their whole way.
Who? No, Ajax would sell younger. They convinced all of their players that usually would have left to stay one more year, and they made
all I'm saying is I agree with you in that standpoint, but you do at the end of the day need some money. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying you, but everyone makes it seem like, hey, I get a billionaire owner. I'm going to win a championship.
I'm not subscribing because don't put me in that hole.
Okay.
I'm not in that hole.
Oh, I apologize.
I'm not subscribing to
talking about Real Madrid. Real Madrid has spent a shit ton of money right now.
I feel like they've been, other than Hazard, they've really been kind of quiet. Like, of course, they want to get positive, but other than that, it's like it's been.
So let's also talk about the move that didn't happen.
Well, actually, no, I take that back.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the move that didn't. I mean, China is throwing money at all these players.
So that was like take.
That wasn't real.
Dude, do you realize he was going to be making 1.2 million pounds a week?
Yeah,
because he's worth it.
Well, that's because no,
I say that.
China is what MLS would be if they had no restrictions on money. Bro, that's basically what that is.
Gareth Bale 1.2 million a week.
Honestly, I was kind of disappointed in Gareth Bale when I heard that he was about to go. And I said, bro.
Well, his wife was a real MVP because she was like, nah, I'm not going to China.
Yeah.
China out. So, Home Depot China came through.
I'm different. I'm not out here. Listen, I'm not a role model. Okay.
Home Depot China just came with the offer.
But going to China is like,
you can be the dad of the Karate Kid movie. God, it could be the next Karate Kid.
We do better than Will and Jay.
The music horrible.
But no, I think that China. Let's get on them real quick. Like I said, they don't have the restrictions that MLS does, but at the same time, they still overspend to get the guys that we would typically go for. And even then, of course, you have players who go there and they're like, "Okay, this is bullshit," and then they're like, How can I go back? How can I go back home? Yeah, I think that their quality is still even far below what we have. But of course, you're getting paid a stack and a half. So
don't disrespect MLS. Did you not see Atlanta LAFC?
Come on,
chill out.
No, I'm
Chill out.
that.
Chill out.
Hey, that
All right? Don't compare us to China.
I'm putting China. I'm putting us over China.
Oh hell yeah!
You know,
yeah, it's not even a question.
like I said, but they pay obscene amounts of money, so it's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and get this stack, and you know, hopefully somebody will come back looking for me in like 2 years when hopefully I'm not too old. But
when does Hulk is over there, right?
I believe it's still over there, yeah. Cause you've had countless.
Hulk has been there for like a minute.
Cause
Man.
like
It's like Bermuda Triangle.
So, hey, take it out.
Ramirez, I think Ramirez went over there. Pato went over there, and like you just they just go over there from
Then like what's his name, Makaleli or no, someone from Chelsea was over there, didn't they?
Yeah, Ramirez.
No, someone else though. Like
Before that,
yeah.
No, Gonzo, no, not Gonzo, Oscar.
Is that what it was?
That's Oscar. Yeah. Abramovich has a friendly relations with the Chinese Premier League, so Super League. So yeah, but I think that Bale's going to figure something out. So like,
I don't think he's going anywhere. I think him and
I think that
Zidane are gonna squash it.
Because like he ran into the same situation I think that the Gea did run into because he has such strong ties to Spurs. It's like, can you really go anywhere else in England and not have a conflict? Because like with De Gea, him being
you think he cares about the conflict?
I
don't think he does.
For a lot of people, they do.
I think more fans care about that shit than the players.
In
this day, in this era,
when you come up through certain clubs, like that loyalty is definitely there, especially if they're a bigger club. Like I think like if you're like coming through like Espanyol, like unless it's like Barcelona, it's like I'd rather like stay with my home club. But like when like with De Gea, obviously you spent so much time with United, so you can't go to City, you can't go to Liverpool, you're not going to go to Chelsea.
Listen, bro, loyalty don't buy Ferraris, man. At the end of the day, that's all these guys care about, man.
Ferrari, you get a Ferrari in Manchester, it happens.
They don't. That's what I'm saying.
You get a Bugatti.
It's about the splash, but talk about other transfer rumors. Romelu Lukaku, you think he's getting out?
Yeah, I think so. Now the great thing there is that there's two things. One, with that move, it will basically push Icardi from Inter. The word is now he's actually Juve is trying to go get him, and because they just sold our boy Moses Kean to Everton.
He went to Everton. That was a shock.
That's a huge shock. I'm like,
good for Everton for enticing him to go.
Oh, but Fami Martins played in China.
Yeah. What was the guy that played in Seattle? I can't remember his name.
Oh, Fami Martins.
Was it? Okay. Yeah.
So the rumors you guys saw on the transfer wire today. Dembele is
Which Dembele?
The
Usman?
Yeah, no, the Argentine Dembele.
There's Africans there's black people in Argentina?
Paulo Dybala.
Oh, Dybala.
Dybala, sorry. But he's
that's part of the swap.
No, that's the whole. Yeah, that's the whole part of negotiating. And the thing about, from what I've read, like everything is set to go. The only thing is that the contract negotiations between Dybala and you right now. So,
which I think that would actually be a pretty interesting.
Well, like this was like 2-3 years ago. I would have been super excited. Like, yo, like Dybala, like, because remember at that point 2-3 years ago, he was
right there at that verge. And then I think that when they took the focus off of him at Juve, it's kind of like, and also at the same time, he wasn't really promoted that much with the Argentina national team because, of course, they still stuck on Messi's teeth.
Who?
Messi.
Who?
Messi.
Who?
That guy.
But
dang, Cisse was over there too. God dang, everybody done been in China, y'all. Like this is a long way.
You go to China to go pay off some debts. That's
Dude,
why I don't know why Ronaldo won't go over there. Go over there, get your money right.
That's what I was thinking. John Obi Mikel. That's what I was thinking.
You got his charges cleared, so he might be over there. He might be over here. You never know.
John Obi Mikel. That's what I was thinking. Chelsea. That's what. Yeah, he was over there.
Like I said, Chelsea and China have very strong relations. They are very good friends.
They tight. They tight.
They homies.
They tight.
But
what else going on?
Well, my doppelganger was over there. Canute. All right.
Man,
You might be able to get over there and get a little contract.
All right.
but before we get into this Q&A, shout out to Terminus Legion. We're going to be back out there this Saturday before the home team game against LA Galaxy. We'll be there. Ebro won't be there, but we'll still chop up everybody, and have a good time out there. Again, thank you guys for your support. And yeah, let's get into these questions, man.
Let's see. There's a new section we're doing, man. We're gonna answer some questions. You guys have questions, we got answers. So if you want to hit us up on, you can hit us up on Anchor. You can hit us up on social media. Send your questions our way.
Yeah, man. So
Actually, send them to Grego's. Go to Grego's personal.
Yeah.
man, kind of tying into what we were talking about earlier. This is Tricky from here in Atlanta. When should a player put themselves ahead of the team? Because we were talking
When
about
your name's Tricky.
There you go. Answer.
There you go.
Next question.
Fuck the team.
no, because we actually didn't get into it earlier. It's like we might have the people against Frank DeBoer. Like we had, of course, we already had
people versus Frank DeBoer.
we had
Everyone hates Frank, even the players. I mean,
Yeah.
we said trust the process. We said till July. In July is when the players started getting vocal. But sorry, Tricky, your question was, when should a player care about himself over the club? At the end of the day, the club doesn't give a shit about you. Period.
Yep.
You have to do what's right for you and your family.
Yep.
At the end of the day,
You only have
If-
so many years
if-
that you're going to be making this
we
amount of money.
all have a shelf life. Even in corporate America, we
Right.
all have, every job you have a shelf life. So when that company has reached the amount of money they can make from you, they're on to the next one.
The old school mindset of the club and this and that or whatever, like that's no longer a part of it. I mean, like
It's not.
was it ever there to begin with?
No, there was
Yeah.
loyalty. You just said about Bale. He's so loyal to Tottenham.
Yeah, he is, but the club ain't.
But I mean, like the whole reason why we got like our guys mentioned tonight was because of that loyalty.
Yeah,
I mean,
But it doesn't
those
exist anymore.
days are.
They're long
It's
Yeah.
no point of doing it anymore because you have so many other entities giving you money
Mhm.
outside
Absolutely.
of the game.
absolutely.
Period.
No, so yeah, I mean,
Neymar hasn't played a competitive game in 6 months.
I mean,
and he's still getting checks.
I mean, his sister, man. She important.
stop.
She important.
That's what I want to interview. I'll learn Portuguese that day. Hello. Hello.
You have a problem.
I just love
Next question, please.
Next question. Tricky, appreciate the question, man.
Let's see
Or,
here.
Ma'am.
No, Tricky's a dude.
Hey, gender bias. You can't be.
That's it. I watch Pose.
But yeah, let's do one more MLS question. Bruce Arena's presence. This is from Anu, also here in Atlanta. Bruce Arena's present in with New England Revolution. They're on a 10-match winning streak. Do you think they'll make a strong statement come playoff time?
No. I don't think they'll make a strong statement. I think they're making a statement in the regular season, but I don't think playoff time.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know the playoffs, it comes with experience.
And that's what Bruce Arena has.
He
does.
has.
He's not playing the game.
That's it.
I mean, he's never played one. He's still got
Like,
5, 6.
And trust me,
He's the Pat O'Reilly of soccer.
come
Come on. Come on. He's the Pat O'Reilly of soccer. So next year he's
I
gonna.
think it was O'Reilly. Is that a car store? I think it's a car store.
I got it. Listen,
He's getting his ways, but
O'Reilly. Oh, okay. That's
listen.
O'Reilly's.
Go.
We'll take some money. O'Reilly's just
Go
I
look
need some
at
brakes in my
immigration
car.
records. His family was originally O'Reilly's. All right, Google that shit. Motherfuckers. Anyway, he's all right. So, like I said, he's the Pat O'Reilly of soccer. He knows how to win. He knows how to get it done, and players respect him because he has won hardware.
Yeah.
Right. So, not this year, but next year. Next year, I honestly think that the Revs are going to be like, "Yo, who are these guys?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. It's good for the league when you have the older clubs perform.
I think it's gonna be interesting there because, of course, with the changes with the postseason format, with it just being like one game knockout rounds,
You get lucky.
It's definitely.
You get lucky.
I think for a coach like him,
We get knocked out.
It may play to his advantage because he's been in those situations. Of course,
Atlanta's getting knocked out this playoffs.
we won the U.S. Open Cup, man. So
Okay, I'll take that trophy. But this playoffs, we're just inconsistent this year.
I think it's a matter of if we're all healthy. If we're all healthy, hey,
Who's hurt? Tito?
Tito's still hurt.
Okay.
Of course, we lost Roster Breck, so we still.
Rasta. Oh
Okay.
no, Rasta Break, don't dreads, man.
Okay. He wasn't a pivotal part of us winning the championship last year. He wasn't here. Who else is hurt that we need?
So we
Go
go.
We don't fucking need Bello. We don't.
Who's our left back right now?
We haven't had a left back in 2 years. We haven't had a left back. So so next, I'm tired of all these excuses. We suck this year. It's
Wow, suck. That's a strong statement,
okay.
sir.
We don't
Sir.
suck.
Sir, that's a strong statement.
We are just
Sir.
inconsistent.
Sir,
Yes, we are.
suck
Which
is like
is kind of wild.
Cincinnati sucks. Okay.
Yes. Atlanta fans, I'm just kidding. We don't suck. We
At the
are
radio
just.
show.
God,
Yeah.
how spoiled are you?
I'm really spoiled.
God,
I'm really spoiled.
jeez, you're not a true Atlanta fan, man. If you're a true Atlanta
First
fan,
of all,
True.
what I'm saying is a true Atlanta fan.
no, true Atlanta fan is like, look here, man. We in the dark days for like two generations.
Bullshit.
You got
Bullshit.
Two generations.
Those are real Atlanta fans.
Motherfucker, do you
Real
like
Atlanta
You
fans
made me drop the MF word, man.
in my house.
in the
Do you know how hard it's been, Atlanta fan here?
It's
Born
rough.
and raised, bro.
It's rough. The thing is,
Falcons, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. Falcons.
96,
No, make it stop. No.
2018.
Make it stop. Make
I
it
want
stop.
you 96.
Atlanta Hawks, man.
96,
Atlanta Hawks.
2018.
let it beat, man.
96, 2018. I'm just going to put those 2 years out there. Real Atlanta fans understand.
96 is 95. Get it right, Atlanta fan.
I carry
Dang.
over next year.
Next question, man. Let's see here. Andrew from one of our homies up in Madison.
Andrew.
What is your take on the rumor of all the MLS 2 clubs moving to USL League One? Because this has been like something that's been on the docket for a while. Because I think that there's some that already have moved to the League One. I think Orlando City B has. And I think one other team might have.
Can I take it? You want to coach? Go ahead. You're about development.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
It's good for the development because it is good for the players, and also it's twofold. Honestly, I think it's good for USL to have a championship, like independent clubs doing independent shit, trying to prove themselves in here. So those are the B markets. These should be our top tier B markets, so they can get better TV contracts. Because when USL wins, the pyramid wins. You take the people who just trying to develop, you put them at a lower level, right? Mm-hmm. So they get the minutes, the PT that we always talk about. Right. But the thing is, it's not as competitive, and they're able to groom these players.
Well, that's actually what I was about to get at.
And then that helps USL as well, is because you can look down at these players that are trying to make it to their first team. It's like, hey, instead of trying to go there, you can come here to Madison, or Madison's in League One, bad example. You can come to New Mexico, and we're going to pay you a decent salary, and you're going to ball out here. Our fans are going to love you here, and then you can get used to it, prove yourself, then you can go to MLS. So then you add that pyramid that all the fucking pro rail fanatics want without actually having pro rail.
Well,
I passed the mic.
Actually, I think that
I passed it back.
because they talked about pro rail for a while. And
Oh, shit. We out here. Wonder Twin.
I wouldn't be doing this in the camera. but no, I actually think that the pro rail thing actually will make that work really well, because I always look back to the Spanish model, because of course they utilize B teams as well, and what you have is those teams are able to fight for promotion as well. Granted they can't move up all the way up to one. That's the same division that their parent club is in. They can't be in the same division.
That's how Germany is as well.
Right. And so with that, what you have is you're putting those players in a position where one, they have to fight for their place, and I think that only makes them even more ready to step up when they are called up to the first team and able to perform. I think that it definitely works out well. Of course, USL's been talking about Pearl for at least about a year and a half, so I think that it's not there just yet. They're still building up League One and League Two, but I think that once everything is kind of like in a firm position where they can go ahead and start utilizing, I think that the MLS 2 clubs would definitely benefit from that, and as well as the independent clubs as well.
Yeah, honestly, if we're talking about like League Two in USL, honestly, I think USL needs to flex some muscle and buy one of these kind of these fringe leagues, like the UPSL or NPSL.
Yeah.
Like buy one of these fringe leagues to help, basically beef up that second division.
Mm-hmm.
Because other than that, it's gotta be kind of hard convincing an ownership group saying, hey, there's no TV, there's no real players.
Well, I think that's actually what will make them a bit more marketable. Like, we've watched USL over the weekend. Of course, we saw Memphis do their thing over.
You get Chattanooga's, you get
Yeah.
New Orleans,
Yeah, you get those teams.
you get Savannah, you get these.
Because they've been growing pretty fast, like the past 5 years. So
But it's like you have these fringe leagues trying to figure out where they belong in the
Mhm.
fourth, fifth division of U.S. soccer.
I think
This
there's
imaginary pyramid we have. So it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like how I really love what USL did.
Mhm.
Like those of you that follow the show, like we're big USL. Like we love what USL is doing.
Mhm.
And it's like, cool, you guys have added a little more structure to this pyramid that
Right.
USSF ain't gonna do.
right.
They're not gonna do it.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. You like how I did that? So to answer that, yeah, man, it's continue to grow, like push the developmental leagues down a level,
Mhm.
and that helps out. Great question. Great
Yeah,
question.
I think that, like I said, when everything is kind of settled, they'll definitely like one of the first elements of that that'll definitely benefit, because it only makes those teams stronger and those players stronger, and that will ultimately benefit their parent teams up in MLS. So I think eventually it'll all work out. But yeah, before we wrap up, of course we would be remiss if we did not mention the ongoing legal battle with USF, and
Everything's fine.
everything's fine.
It's fine. What are you talking about?
It's fine.
Yeah. Like what? We won a World Cup. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they had plenty of beer. That's what they wanted, right? Is that what the women wanted? They wanted beer.
You know?
Dude,
No,
it's not even funny with like the excuse that he even tried.
yeah.
It was
Like the fact that he factored in the NWSL, like the payment for that, that's like insulting as hell.
It's gross.
You know, it's bad when even the men's national team players associated.
They're like, hold on, bro.
Like you
Honestly, and I respect that because I didn't expect them to do that. For them to
I
drop the
respect that
statement,
either,
I didn't. When I
bro.
read the statement, I was like, "Yo, that is solidarity, and that's what we need."
it's not even just from solidarity. It's like, are you
Yeah.
tripping? Right?
It was like y'all are fudging the numbers.
But I mean, like, let's go back to, we can go back all the way to when we had the Cab episode. You know, the Cab was talking about back then, like, during this whole election, you know, with them getting in, it's more of the same. It's even worse, if not. And so,
he's the yes man. He's a corporate guy. But women still ain't getting equitable pay. There has yet to be a U.S. women's
this shit's
national
going to
team.
court.
Yeah.
This shit's going on in court.
But it's going to go to court and it's going to sit in court for years.
For this,
Until the next World Cup, and the women are going to have to play.
But I will say, what's been cool to see is that from after the World Cup success with the women's team, you know, now that they're starting to get the games on ESPN that they weren't getting before.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
like,
still need to get people to show up. That's
you still
my
need
thing.
to. You still need to.
Because like we were watching Utah and North Carolina Courage,
Right.
and like
You know how to get people to show up? What? The Hawks did. Start having concerts in the middle of the game.
You put barbershops.
but who's going?
You put barbershops.
I'm just
in there.
bullshit. No. Honestly, no. What's more egregious about this equitable pay thing, which has really pissed me off?
Tell them why you mad, son.
Well, you
Really?
mad,
No.
man.
Seriously. There has not been a U.S. women player signed to the Real Madrid ladies. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. They have not signed America.
Or Man United.
Fuck Man United. Real Madrid is supposed to be the glory.
Well, I wonder. No, I wonder also though, like, you know, when they're trying to make up their teams, like if they're trying to have more of a homegrown type of feel too.
So here's the interesting.
I just wonder. I'm saying. I just want to go because
You're gonna be one club. Because remember Spain. You're gonna be one club. You gotta splash that cash.
Let me just ask, just because remember Spain. I think Spain's
Real Madrid doesn't value women.
Listen, can I talk? Spain, I think, gave U.S. one of the toughest games.
They did.
And I think it was 3-1.
Yeah.
That game was 3-1,
Mm-hmm.
and they were a young squad. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that it's the answer. It could be.
Well, hold on. Here's something to think about here. Yeah.
But majority of the Spanish team plays in.
There's some English. You got some English players on the Barcelona team.
Majority.
Too,
Yes.
But here's interesting.
But there's no Americans.
Here's
What's with the anti-American bias in the women's game?
It's weird. But here's an interesting thing there. It's
Like,
like,
I mean,
Come on!
and this is where I think we might be
That's cool. We should talk about that next episode.
that is culture.
That's culture.
That's culture
But
right
here's the
there.
thing, like where we're selling NWL sales short. You got to think about it. Most of our team plays in NWSL. They just won a World Cup. Are we shortchanging the quality of this league here?
No, we talked about that before when we talked about when the women won the game. The NWSL is producing great players. The thing is, they are shit marketers.
Yeah, and that's
They're
the thing.
shit.
And that's the thing. Like somebody needs to figure this out as far as like how you make NWSL.
This is
like,
where I
you have
understand.
a good product.
I don't understand why Target is not into this, because like Target, as far as when them partnering with it. No, this is the reason why because it doesn't look right.
Target. Hey, Target. I know y'all follow. Everyone at Target follows the show.
But
Listen, change your logo design for jerseys.
Okay,
put Target.
Put a triangle.
No, write the word Target. Don't do the bullseye. Write the word Target. Or put the goddamn dog.
I don't know. Put a bow and arrow. I don't care. But listen here. The fact that like Target's whole MLS thing now, whenever you go into a Target shop, what do you see? When you go back to the sports section now, even on Camp Creek now, I see soccer stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess I gotta go to Target.
You do.
You got to go to the sporting goods.
And that's a
section.
part of the whole deal with Target partnering with the MLS. And so my whole thing is like put Target into the women's game. Like there you go, bam. You got NWSL jerseys or gear.
I wonder if they got.
I still want that.
I wonder
Hey,
if
Portland Thorns, if y'all want to throw me a jersey, you know what I'm saying? I'll rock it every show.
Rain, I want one.
Portland Thorns.
I've supported some Lily. I think on that note.
We're going home on this.
Oh,
Yes, we're glad to be back, man.
We're back.
Like I said, Saturday we'll be out at Terminus Legion tailgate.
We will be.
No,
Grego go pull up everybody on the show. So hey, if you want to be on our podcast, look at Grego. He gonna pull you on.
Your cousin, your sister, your
Look,
neighbor, your dog.
You could just be walking by. Just look at Grego like,
The wino from the corner. You know what I'm saying?
I'll cut up my neck already.
Hey.
So, but yes,
I mean, I watch soccer, man. I watch soccer.
I like.
I know Pele, man. I know Pele.
we should get the guys to sell knockoff jerseys on the episode. Be like, what goes into trying to knock out? Let's get up and get 5 minutes on the live episode.
CHKB.
215, 215.
Alibaba.
But yes, in the meantime, as always, catch us on the social site FTC
UTD.
Wait, preseason training, we doing all right, man. But yes, as always. Oh, the name sets that we talked about last week, they are now available online, so you can order them, and we'll set all that stuff up with you and all that. You know, shout out to Ball Arrows for that. FTCUTD.myshopify.com.
Listen, what you got? Listen, before you close it out, just one retweet a day goes a long way.
It really does.
You sound like a unicycle.
Listen. Listen, one retweet a day, you can help these 3 bald men buy fresh razors. Okay? So if you like what we produce on this show for season 1, I want you guys to imagine what we're going to get y'all in season 2.
I'm concerned because y'all two don't shave y'all as much as I do.
Because I don't got enough fresh razors. Because I don't got that one retweet a day. So, hey, if you fuck with the brand, retweet us on Twitter. Nigga, you can share our shit. I said, nigga. You can share our stories on your IG. Share it on Facebook. Tell your coworker that talks about soccer and he's a true soccer fan because he talks about Arsenal and he talks about Everton and he says football and he jacks off to fucking Patrice Evra pictures. Like, what's up, Tony? What's up, Tony? But seriously, man, really supportive, man. We greatly appreciate y'all. Grego, get us
Just letting you know that Reno will no longer be a part of this show.
That's cool. I'm creating my spin-off podcast, Culture for the Culture for the.
Like I said, we'll see y'all. We see y'all Saturday. Follow us on the socials. Shop.
Nigga, Shopify. We on Shopify. Season 2, baby. And we out.
Viceland, here we go. We on Viceland next.
We'll see y'all next. We'll see y'all Sunday.
Drop the N-word.
Oh,
Lord. Wow, Al Sharpton coming at us now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got hyped about the retweet. Man, I'm like, man, retweet that shit. I be looking at my tweet like, retweet that shit. Don't like it, don't do shit. Don't like that shit, retweet that shit. Keep that shit rolling.
Put it on your timeline where we know we can see it, so we know it's real.
Right. Period.